Welcome to this lesson in Algebra 1. We're going to continue learning how to factor these trinomials. Again, same thing, x squared plus bx plus some number c, where c is a positive number. The only way to really get good at this, guys, is to practice them and see a lot of problems. It really is kind of tough at first, the first time you learn how to do it. So if you're finding yourself confused, just work some problems with me. Eventually, the light bulb will go off. So here we have y squared minus 9x plus 14. And you want to factor it. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to find two binomials. When we say factor, we're trying to find these two binomials that multiply together to give me what I've started with. So you first look at the first term, y squared. That means there needs to be a y here and a y here, because y times y is y squared. Then you look at 14. I need to put a number here times a number here that gives me positive 14, right? And I have lots of choices. I could do 1 times 14. I could do 7 times 2 is 14. Okay, but let me just go back and we'll go the right way, and then I'll tell you how you can avoid going the wrong direction early on. So let's try 7 times 2. That's really the first thing I think of when I get to 14. So I'm going to put 7 here and 2 here. Now I need a positive 14 over here at the end. So I need to either put a positive times a positive, because that'd be positive 7 times positive 2, giving me positive 14. But I can't do that, because if I put a positive here and a positive here, the interior terms will give me positive 7y, and this will give me positive 9y. I add them together in the end, I'm going to get 2y here and 7y here. That would give me positive 9y, but I don't have a positive 9y. I have a negative 9y. So the only way that it works out is if I put negative sign here and here. Because y times y gives you y squared. Negative 7 times negative 2 gives you positive 14. Then the interior term here gives me negative 7y. This interior term gives me negative, don't forget negative 2, negative 2y. Negative 2y plus negative 7y gives me the negative 9y. So I verified that this is the proper answer. And I go this direction. Okay, now let's talk about for a second why you wouldn't put 1 times 14 here. Because 1 times 14 will give you the third number, 14, but the problem is there's no way that when you do that, let's just go over here for a second. Let's say we did it like this. Because ultimately you're going to get really good mentally at figuring out what's going to work out. Let's say you put 1 times 14. So you think you're doing great. You're like, okay, I got it all worked out. Do I need a positive or a negative here? Well, the problem is, yes, y times y does give me y squared. 1 times 14 does give me 14. But the interior term here is y, and the interior term here multiplied is 14y. If I add them together, I get 15y. If I subtract them, I get 13y. There's no way to get a 9 out of that. There's no